Yvonne McAtamney, Mrs. Macadamia Nut is in the building. She's here. Are you going to wave? There she is.
Everyone. Good morning.
Oh, it's lovely to see you.
Thank you, John.
Really lovely
Thank
to see
you.
you.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a long month.
Well, I think, wasn't it since the last time we did this?
Yeah.
Have you been in since then?
No, not at all. No,
No.
that was the 18th of May.
So 18th of May was the last time I saw you. And what is today? 22nd of June, so it's a long month.
It's been 5 weeks.
Now, it's very exciting because you are loving... How many people on Facebook have put their pictures of row 1 and 2? We are doing the Village Street Block of the Month, or So a Row, whatever you want to call it. That's it. That's the finished thing. So if you're watching last month on May the 18th, you will have seen Yvonne do the bottom one, like, you know, the courthouse steps and the log cabin, and the zebra crossing with the cat on it, which
Look, it is not a zebra crossing, Mr. Scott.
What is it again?
It's a garden fence.
A garden fence with a cat. Now I've got Yvonne's version here, right? Can you spot the difference? No cat. Right, cat on that, no cat on that. Right? That's because you can do whatever you want. Basically, Yvonne says it's your quilt. You do whatever you want to do with it. So that was row 1 and 2 from last month, right? Then today, we're going to be doing the next row, which looks like... Have you got a picture of the next row there? There you go. It's the row of flowers. So the idea is each month you look... Now, Emma, you could have got rid of that bit of thread at the bottom there, look. Honestly. Right, so here we go. Month 3 is now available, £32.99. Each month introduces a new skill or a transferable skill that you might learn. So the first one was obviously straight lines. Then the next one was straight lines and a bit of applique and the strips going across and cutting out a cat. Now this one, well, Yvonne's going to tell you what this month's all about. So this is what you get. I've opened it already. This is what you get in your kit here for your £32.99. You get your full instructions. Hang on, we're just coming in. You get your full instructions, you get all the fabric you need, and you get 4 threads, not 3, that one rolled away. You get all of that, There it is. Now, that's how yours will arrive. The one on the right is obviously how it's all sealed and packed and everything. The one on the left is it open, beautifully splayed, so you can see everything that you get in there. Full instructions and everything you need. And your threads, 4 threads as well. 4 beautiful threads there. So all of that for £32.99. Do you want me to put the graphics through for the last 2 months as well first? Right, the last 2 months we have got, now these are limited. If you weren't watching last month thinking, what are they going on about? What are they talking about? We start on May the 18th. If you go to YouTube, you can watch Yvonne doing this on May the 18th. This was row 1 and row 2, which we did a special price for these, you see. £49.99 for 2 rows. That was it. And everything you need is in there. The threads, the fabric, everything you need, the instructions, all of it is all in there for row 1 and 2. So row 1 was the log cabin row, and row 2 was the zebra stripe one. Piano keys. What was it called?
It's a fence.
It's
real
fence.
Has
it got a name when you do...
kind of real fence. Yeah? Go for a real fence, John.
OK, real fence. OK.
Because you do them in 3s and you could alternate them.
Oh, yes, of course. But you have to watch May the 18th and you'll see her waffling on there about it.
I do a good waffle.
She does love a waffle, but she's overexcited. I can't tell you too much. It's a bit of a secret. But she's planning a festival. Not one where you go to and dance to Tom Jones.
Oh, it's possible.
Oh, Tom Jones is going to be there. But it is a sort of festival, isn't it?
Well, it's going to be just a little bit different from your normal show. But yeah, a couple of friends of mine and myself were organising a show over in Belfast. So there's going to be a lot of good crack, as they say. And we are hoping. Well, we can't run classes. We can't make it what we were hoping it was going to be. Yeah. But with lots of COVID-safe procedures in place, we are going to do what we're going to call a schoolhouse.
Schoolhouse?
Schoolhouse. So we're going to have short
This is the thing we weren't meant to be telling you about. We're telling you all about it now.
Well.
Go on. Schoolhouse.
But that's about as much as I know about it, other than I know it's going to be in an area. We're going to do a fair number of different designers and people representing products. I'm going to do a talk. I know we've got a lady who's going to just talk about all of her quilts. So it's going, and that's all free. Once you paid your ticket to come in, no more costs.
And what's it called then? Schoolhouse?
That aspect of the show is called Schoolhouse, but this is Quilt Fair.
Quilt Fair in Belfast.
In Belfast on the 2nd, 3rd and 4th of September.
So she won't be on here 2nd, 3rd and 4th of September?
No, I've already cleared my schedule for that period of time, and hopefully I'm going to see lots of people that I haven't seen in a while, because I haven't been able to go to Northern Ireland for
that's
about
brilliant.
3 years now. And the tickets are on sale on the website.
On your village, on village stores?
No, that's on its own website. So at Quilt Fair, just go along to quiltfair.com and you can buy your ticket there.
So once you've paid your ticket, you don't have to pay, unless you buy, because there are going to be stalls to buy fabric.
There are going to be about 25 traders. We've got the traders who know what they're doing. They're really experienced people who I've known for many years, so I know exactly the quality of product and information that they're going to be able to give to the customer coming in. There's going to be a few little nice surprises along the way.
You're not doing your party piece, are you? Oh,
well, it depends how much alcohol I imbibe in the evening, John, as to what state I'll be in during the shows. But it's when I go home, it's just a wonderful experience. You know, it's
don't
good
get
for the
emotional.
soul.
She's welling up.
No, I'm not. I just going home is a real bonus for me, and it's good for my soul.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, then, right, let's move on then. So, row 1 and row 2 we did on May the 18th, so you can go on the Sewing Street YouTube and see how to do row 1 and 2. Now, what skills are we... Oh, no, you need to say something about something in row 1, in
right.
there.
If I can just intercede.
Yeah, sorry.
Right, in the instructions that we've given you for row 2, which is the real fence row, we have simply gotten a typo. It's item number 3, cut across the strips at 3.5-inch intervals to create a total of, and in mine here, I've just ringed we've put 16, it should be 12.
Right.
And it kind of becomes obvious.
Okay, but most people have made it already, so...
Lots have, and one lady very kindly phoned us up and told us of this. And she had been able to deal with it quite easily because it's an obvious mistake.
Yeah.
But I thought this was the best place to just make sure that we were acknowledging that, and that anyone who was just a bit concerned about it, that it is clear that that's all that had happened.
Okay, so moving on to today's, what skills are we covering on row 3?
Well, row 3, we are looking at cutting bias strips, and strips that we are actually curving at quite steep angles around here. There's one in here as well. So we have bias strips, and we also have machine applique.
Right.
So those are the two basic techniques that we're looking at, but I also, as part of what I like to share with people here, is just showing you some slightly different ways of putting the applique on. Still using your machine, but everyone has a machine with different capabilities. Not everyone has a super duper machine, and some people don't like to use their sewing machines. They would rather do applique by hand.
Of course.
So I'm just going to cover a little bit on each of those so that it's making it more accessible for people.
Will we need some Bondaweb?
Yes, we are going to need some Bondaweb. I think you don't need a huge amount. That's why we haven't included it in the pack.
Okay, we've got a small packet of it. You might have some at home. We've got a small packet,
Probably some best press would be a good thing as well, because you're working with some small pieces.
We've sold out that at the moment, but I'm sure you've all got some of that.
Yeah. And some applique pins, applique pins, whichever way you want to pronounce it.
Saying nothing.
We do these little sort of centimetre long pins are invaluable for working with the little leaves and the flower centres, etc., that we have on this particular row.
Perfect.
Mat, cutter and ruler, pretty important at this point, because you need to accurately cut your background pieces.
Okay, brilliant. Oh, yeah, I've just noticed the backgrounds are different greens, aren't they?
Oh, we don't make it easy, do we? Yeah. And shall I just dive on in there,
Please,
John?
that's what I'm waiting for.
Oh, okay, so you can have a slurp of water there while I'm, yeah, I know. Well, look, let's start by saying there are two different backgrounds. And you have 3 of one fabric and 2 of the other. You, in your pack, and I must be very careful, I keep these all in the right kind of order, otherwise all will go astray for me. So, panel 1 is the your basic green. I'm just going to slide these up.
Yeah.
Panel 2 is your little sprigs.
Can you go a bit higher, Emma? Is that possible? Yeah, we'll get all of them in the shot.
And then panel 3 is the centre one, so we are back to the mottled green. Panel 4 and panel 5.
Did they not plant any in their gardens?
They're just late flowering.
Okay, I know the feeling. You sold your first ticket. A tractor. Good one, John Yvonne. Really looking to see Yvonne in Belfast. I know you'll get a proper Northern Irish welcome home, she says.
Oh, that's very kind. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, Davinia says, very quickly here, hi all, I love Yvonne, she's brilliant. Love and hugs from Davinia in Buckinghamshire.
Oh, thank you.
Right, we'll carry on.
So, firstly, cut out your 5 panels. I'm going to just go to panel 5 where nothing has happened just yet. The only thing that the first thing that I then want you to do is, we have told you the size to cut this panel out, and it is allowing room for straightening up and trimming up, because whenever you work on a piece of fabric it can distort a little bit, so hence a little bit of best press. But draw a line 1/2 inch in all the way around. Yeah, you can just pick up the Frixian pen that I've used on here. This I've marked up as panel number 5. 1/2 inch all the way round. You will then trim that back 1/4 inch, keeping your design centered so that you just are left with your appropriate seam allowance. But because of the amount of work that you're going to do, let's have a quick look on panel number 2. This one has got quite a few little flowers on. This one is very straightforward, and maybe is where you would want to start on panel 2. I have trimmed this down so that the line around the edge is now just at the 1/4 inch. It's important to have marked that the exact size of the panel, because some of the pieces are quite close to the edge. This little flower petal is quite close to the edge. And on some of the panels, you have leaves that overlap from one panel into another.
Oh, okay.
So you need your line in place. This particular design on this one, your bias strips, we've made them all as bias strips, but you don't need to shape them in any form, so they are just straight up and down. If I turn this over, we've done this in some different coloured threads so that you can see what we've done. We have not gone around the edge of each of the pieces. We have blanket stitched up either side of the stems, for example, but on the leaves, we have not gone round the outside of the leaves. We have simply stitched a central vein and then some little offshoots, okay? I have again gone round the edges of the flowers in a blanket stitch, but if I just, you can see that we have not apparently done anything with the yellow centre on these flowers that's coming through. What I did was, before I attached the purple flower on, I put the little yellow centre into the middle of the purple flower, and I stitched some French knots in. Okay.
So the yellow dots attach to the blue flower before you attach the whole thing to the...
Yes, so step by step. But again, I did this just to give you an idea of how you can attach things without having to use your sewing machine, to actually make this your own. And the little white spots on this yellow fabric. This yellow fabric has little white spots on it. You might not be able to pick that up. I've just put a French knot in the middle of each of the little white dots. Oh. Yeah. So you've got a little bit of texture. It's a little bit different. Just a different way of showing you how to attach these pieces. If I now look on panel number 3, which is the one I think we might do most work on, best suggestion that I can give you about putting all of the pieces in the right place is one panel at a time. If you want to do all of your drawing out on your Bondo web and cutting out of your leaves and flowers, then little bags with, this is panel number 3. I have a bag up here, I haven't numbered it, it just happens to be panel number 1, so it's got lots of little different leaves in there. So little baggies are the answer. Just again talking about how things have been applied on this particular one, I haven't blanket stitched the stems. I have actually stitched those by hand.
Okay.
Now this gives you the option of a slightly more raised applique effect. Whenever you machine down either side, you really are flattening the bias strip. This is allowing it to be raised a little bit. So you need to refer to your diagram. You've got diagrams for panel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have your front picture, John, there.
Yeah.
Your front pic. If I could I maybe borrow your front picture?
Oh, yeah, of course you can.
Thank you, because I don't seem to have one here. And if you just look on your picture, that is where...
Don't be writing on my panel.
It's okay. It's a Frixian pen.
All right, then.
So I can run the iron over this on paper as well as... Okay, so you've got panel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you now have a little colour picture of each panel as well as your there we go. As well as your layout, as well as the listing on the front page of the instructions that tells you how many of each size leaf you need or how many flowers you've got.
You've got a whole list of how many of each template you need.
Yes, so I think you need to have your front picture in front of you. You need your layout. And I actually started doing, I numbered a few of these so that I was sure I had enough of the little petals in my bag.
Okay.
So be methodical about it and it'll all be easy, I promise. Okay. So we now, in your pack, you're going to find you have 2 pieces of green fabric.
Yeah.
You have a long strip that is a narrow strip, and that's for all your leaves. Okay.
I'll just show you the packet. Is that what we're showing, Han? Yeah, you just show because we'll just show it with the open packet in a second.
Yeah. So
there you go. So hang on. Oh, so hang on. So you've got that green in a long strip, and you've got it in another piece. Then. Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you want your long piece to cut your leaves out.
Right.
So
I see, yeah.
This is what I've done here. And then to be able to get your bias strips,
you need the bigger piece. Yeah.
You need the square, because bias means that you are cutting at a 45-degree angle so that you're getting stretch in the piece of fabric. We tell you and how many, John, could you just read the bit? Please.
Which bit would you like?
The bit that says how much bias strip you need.
3 green dots, is that what I'm looking at?
Yes.
3/4 inch bias strips to make 16 stems cut from the 10-inch square.
Okay, so you need 16 stems. Now that sounds like quite a lot, and this looks like a smallish piece of fabric.
Yes, yeah.
Do not panic, because every time you cut across here, you are getting at least 10 inches, at the very least. In fact, your first cut's going to give you something like 13 or 14 inches. So this is what some of the lines on your ruler that you thought, what's that doing there for, comes in very useful, okay? So do give your piece of your square a bit of a press. Mine has been, as you can see, has been folded in one of my bags overnight. So I'm just a quick press over. As I say, a little bit, now not a huge amount of some kind of stabilizer. So I don't mean iron-on stabilizer, I mean a bit of best press or a bit of spray starch, something like that. You don't want it harsh, hard, you just want it not fraying and a little bit firm. So on your creative grid ruler, you will see that there is a line that says 45 degrees from running across. What you want to do is to be working on the diagonal, so you might as well make sure you've got a proper diagonal. So 45 degrees is half of 90 degrees, which gives you your square. And this piece that I have here is, it's the same size as you have in your pack, and is actually not quite square. It's a little bit bigger than square. No, just trust me, you're fine.
Yeah.
So you're going to run your 45-degree angle along one straight edge of this piece of fabric. Okay?
Yeah.
Hand in the middle, start off the fabric and run across. Okay?
Yeah. So don't panic that you're not hitting the corner of the other side, because
No.
it's not an exact square, is it?
No, correct. But we now have the ability. So John said three-quarters of an inch. So 3/4 of an inch. Make sure that you know you've got a straight line because you've just cut that. So we have counted across. So 3/4 of an inch is 1/4 of an inch below the 1 inch marker. So you're coming down here. Take it easy. You're not in a rush. Always do this whenever you're actually awake and concentrating. So I have now cut 3/4 of an inch. If you're not sure that your blade is sharp and you have cut it, don't move the ruler. Move this bit of fabric. And you know what? I've missed literally one thread. Just there. Okay? What I have here is a 3/4 inch strip. Going to just set that to the side. I'll cut one more. Again, 3/4 of an inch measured up there. And you can start to see the amount of bias that you are going to get out of. And you see, no, I pressed a bit harder.
Good.
One more.
Yep.
One more.
While you're cutting that, Julie says, the wonderful Yvonne has your card marked, John. You better be a good boy. And Anya says, morning, got my tickets for the full weekend.
Oh, wonderful. You make sure you come and say hello to me.
She says, bring John with you.
Well, now well, John, you'd be more than welcome.
Well, we have to go top to toe in the bed then.
Well, John, you've left me speechless. That doesn't happen often. But the venue is a lovely hotel.
Oh, is it?
At the Stormont Hotel up in Belfast. You would love it.
I've been to Belfast once, because when I was on this morning, we used to do, at Christmas, we used to taking presents, and I went to a hospice in Belfast. I was made so welcome, I can't tell you.
So I've got lots, without very much effort there, and with these two large pieces still left.
Yeah, but you've got to get leaves out of those, haven't you?
No, that's what your other strip's for. Do you remember? This thinner strip.
Yeah.
You've gotten that to get all of your leaves out.
Even your small, medium and large leaves out of there?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Because the small, medium and large, there's not a huge amount of difference.
Okay.
They're all, but no.
Lovely.
So you've got all of this, okay? You've got all of these. And none of the stems is much longer than about 6 inches. So there are different ways to now create a bias strip out of this, but you've gotten the stretch. You can just see that there.
Yeah.
You can use a hero marker to mark it into thirds. I don't do mine like that, and I've just put a knot on my thread. Isn't that irritating?
Did you mean to do that?
No. But that's all right.
It's have to have a shorter bit of thread.
It's going to be a shorter bit of thread. Okay.
I knew it was going to be one of those mornings when she came stomping in this morning.
I did do a bit of a stomp this morning, didn't I?
We had to open the big doors for her, though, so she could make an entrance.
I did. There was no red carpet, John. I've got to say there should have been a bit of red carpet.
We did have balloons by the door. The other door had balloons by it, but you came into the wrong door. Right, so if you're not marking with a hero marker, how are you doing it then?
Well, I'm going to simply fold it in 3.
Okay.
Simple as that. Okay.
Right.
And I'm going to, now that I do have a knot on the end of my thread, so my knot is going to be on the right side of the fabric, so you're going to be able to pull it out quite easily. And all you're doing is pushing a little bit under, and you can see that just by the fact that you have one layer of fabric below the second layer, it's taken it up by that, it's like a 1/16, but you will not have a raw edge showing.
Right.
Then simply a tacking stitch.
Oh, okay. So you're not stitching it to close it. You're just putting a tacking stitch in to hold it for now.
Just simply to hold it. You can, Linda, who is my fellow designer on this project, she doesn't do hers like this.
Oh, okay.
She uses a hero marker and simply presses it in place.
Right.
This goes back to many years ago, and this was how I was taught to do bias strips for hand applique. And I like the slightly more raised effect I get with this because it's just not quite so harsh as marking and really, really pressing flat. It's all down to however you get the best result. So I'm going to just take another couple of stitches here. I'm not going to go all the way along because, believe it or not, I did do a few of these the other day so that I would be able to show you how to position some of this, okay? So this is a great armchair activity.
While you're watching the tennis.
While I'm watching the tennis. Because it's Queen's this week, so it's Queen's Club.
Oh, is it? They have to work hard, don't they? Last week. What was the Roland Garros one you were watching?
Well, that was the French Open.
Oh, okay.
And then last week was Queen's. This week it's qualifying for Wimbledon.
They started at Wimbledon then?
No, just for qualifying.
Oh, okay.
Just qualifying. And yeah, next year, definitely going back next year.
What, to play?
Oh, if only the knees would let me. Last year we had tickets for Centre Court.
Oh.
And we've been, my one daughter tolerates and comes along, naturally quite enjoys it.
Yeah.
The rest of the family think it's quite, why do you want to watch that?
Oh,
anyway.
no. When I was at Wimbledon School of Art, Dulcie and I rented a house in Wimbledon Park, and in the summer we could hear the Wimbledon going on from our garden.
You'd hear the crowd, I'm sure. So I'm just going to go on to panel number 3.
Okay.
Now, don't panic if you don't get things quite where we have put them. This is a garden. This is your interpretation of our design. Yeah.
So those lines you've drawn on there, they come from the... Oh, Emma, can you just pull out a little bit? Pull up a little bit so we can see the thing underneath. There you go. There you go. So you've drawn those lines from your plan onto your fabric.
Yeah, and you don't have to do that. I did that in case I got a bit overwhelmed by events of today. So you can see that I've left my tacking stitches in here. I have my exact line, the finished size of my fabric. So there's a black line across here. Yeah. So I'm simply going to, and here's where the little applique pins are invaluable, to just...
Yeah, because big pins would make it buckle a little bit, wouldn't they?
Yes, and when you start to work with it, because this bias strip is not sticky, yeah, you're going to have to keep your pins in until you have it stitched down on there. And you just, if you have big pins, they're overlapping each other and they scratch the side of your hand.
Yeah, and your thread gets caught on them as well.
Yes, okay, I have simply pinned that in place. Now, I think I will just pop this one on as well.
Okay.
What I would say is that on this panel, I'm making sure, let me move my hand, you can see that I'm 1/4 of an inch over this black line, because that's going to be your stitching line, so you want to make sure you're catching these in. You need to be thinking about where your leaves are that are overlapping. So that's why I have pinned these in. So again, they're just pinned, so they're going to have to stay there for a little while.
So is the leaf on the other side, is that Bondaweb down?
That one is.
But the ones that overlap, you just pinned in place at the moment.
I've just pinned in place.
Yeah.
And again, ideal that you have the little pins in the, so that you can work on things. And as I say, if they're not quite in the same place, don't panic.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so don't mean to confuse you, but I'm going to leave, I think, panel 3 now, because we've done our big bias strips on here. And maybe go back to panel 1. Because I've actually stitched down the bias strips. So these bias strips, you now, on panel 3, you now have the option of hand stitching them down.
Yeah.
Putting maybe just one stitch right up through the centre if your machine isn't going to do any kind of fancy stitch. Blanket stitch the edge either by machine or by hand. Or maybe if you have a machine that has a fancy stitch on it, you could do little stars up the centre of it.
If you want to, yeah.
You make it your own.
Righty-ho.
Okay. So when I go back to panel number 1, which is where I started,
Yes.
as you would, I want to, okay, so here is your, what it's going to look like.
Yeah.
You have your reference picture. So this is what it's going to look like in colour. So we know we have this lovely, I don't know, jade colour?
Yeah.
Liberty.
Yeah, this is jade. It's Wiltshire Shadows.
It is. Yeah. It is. So I am assuming that you know how to use Bondaweb.
Yeah.
You're going to draw, and each of these pieces, with its little paper on, I have marked which template it is on the paper, because the leaves A, B's and C's are, it's a very subtle difference between them, and you are also doing some templates for flowers in different colours for different panels. So you're now on the let's get these things laid out.
Okay, while you're laying those out, I might just need to do
Please do.
Update of where we are with sales and things like that. So today's block, $32.99, is the row of flowers on the quilt. Excuse me. 100 have gone. 100 have gone. And how many have got in baskets? Okay, so I can tell you now that the actual amount we've got left are very few, because there's loads in baskets. If you've got yours in your basket, please, please, please check out. We're going to sell out. It's definitely going to be a sellout. And I don't think La, 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 la. I know you sent us extra ones of these, but that's it now, isn't it? You can't do any more.
Just about.
Yeah.
We will be down to a handful.
Yeah, exactly. So what we have matched the amount of this month with the amount of the upgraded number of last month, right? Yvonne's got to make them all. Yvonne and Linda and Rosie all have to sit. And is there someone else?
Yeah, Nicola normally does the packing.
Yeah, Nicola.
And Joe did some packing.
Oh, it's a whole empire you've got going on there. But anyway, what I'm trying to say to you is, this is really important, there are a finite amount of row 1 and 2. We have matched the amount that we raised the number 2 and 3, and then these are almost sold out. These have nearly sold out, so please be careful if you've got these in your basket, because I would hate for you for us not to be able to recreate it, and you've got row 1 and row 2, and then you haven't got row 3 sort of thing. So I'm not adding any undue pressure. I promise you. I just don't want your disappointment. So this month is for the row of flowers. You get all of this fabric. I think we just showed you the picture, didn't we? Get all this fabric, all the instructions. Yvonne's got half of my instructions now. All your pictures and everything you need there. £32.99. And this is what it'll look like when it's sent to you. The one on the right is how it arrives. Nicola will have packed it.
Oh,
and then the one on the left is when Yvonne's done a lovely display. You get the threads as well. You do get the threads as well. And all the instructions, £32.99. That's this month. Now, for those of you who haven't bought row 1 and 2 from May the 18th, we do have this many. Well, I'm going to tell you now exactly how many we've got. Rows 1 and 2. Right, handful. We've got a handful now of these. That's it. That's it. And we cannot... Well, as Yvonne said, she might have 1 or 2 more in the shop, but that's it. That's it. So please be careful. So this was £49.99. This was a special deal for row 1 and row 2. That's these here, row 1 and row 2. So that was what we did on May the 18th. You watch the YouTube on May the 18th. You'll see Yvonne doing those 2. So that's that one. And then this is today's that we're doing now. So please, all I'm saying is please be careful, because I don't want you to be disappointed. Okay. Right.
Well, as you can see, we now have a pink flower in the middle here. I am busy positioning. We do these as individual petals as opposed to just one big cutout panel, because they just look more realistic.
Yeah.
It's a bit more work. But
Can I give you a tip? Not you, Yvonne, but at home, right? When you're placing them very precisely, like Yvonne's doing, do it on your ironing board or do it on your ironing mat, because otherwise you're going to have to lift the whole thing up. The cat will come in, the window will be open, then all blow off.
Or if you've got a cut and press mat, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I just, whenever John was chatting there, I was very gingerly moving things about.
Or were you ironing on top of the ironing?
No, I didn't. I didn't. Stop you accusing me of things.
I wouldn't. I'd never dream of it.
So I was able to very carefully move things over. So I bring this back over this way.
Thank you.
Then, so at this point, I don't want to press this one down. That's overlapping my drawn line here. I've pressed this down. I am going to press that flower down. And the other benefit of these little applique pins is they are small enough that you can just about press around them. Or if the worst comes to the worst, you press over the top of them and they don't melt.
Yeah. Why haven't you ironed the leaf on the far left hand? No, not that one. The other side. That side.
Simply so I had something to show people.
Oh, I see. Sorry.
Because I pinned these leaves on, and there is a mixture of leaf B's and C's and A's in this little complex here, and of course, as you can see, what I am losing, which is rather unfortunate, is the drawn line around the outside, because the friction pin is coming off. So that's why this little iron does tend to be helpful, but even so, I have lost a bit of the line on the top there. So if we now think about how we are applying these, you can either do it by hand. We've given you matching cotton thread so that the colour is as forgiving as we can make it. if your sewing machine will allow you, then I really would suggest that a nice little blanket stitch, a blanket stitch that goes 2 stitches in between each blanket that goes in, gives you the most manoeuvrability for going round the shape.
Yeah, I was going to say, sometimes a blanket stitch, when you're around shapes, if it's too blankety, it goes a bit jaggedy, doesn't it?
It's too tight to let you provide, to stitch nice curves. Equally, you want to be able to see where you're going on these. These rotary cutters are not my friend today.
Oh, no, they're not. They are normally.
They
Shirley
are
loves
normally.
it.
They are normally, and I wouldn't be without them.
Yeah.
So, with if you have an applique foot for your sewing machine, which is basically a clear foot, but see-through foot that doesn't have a lot of metal or whatever in the way, you want to be able to see.
And also,
where you're
usually
manoeuvring.
the hole in the middle is bigger, isn't it? It's a
Yes,
bit wider.
you have a wider gap, so there's not quite so much pressure going down through the foot. Choose which stitch is going to do best on your machine. If you have the ability to change the length of the stitch or the width of the stitch, have a little play with that, because these leaves are quite small. We are going to stitch around a leaf because I have green thread on the sewing machine.
Have you?
I have.
Good.
I managed to thread this up all by myself.
Yeah. Well, it's an easy machine. It's a lovely machine.
It's really very easy to thread.
Yeah, the 570A is brilliant. Are we talking more about that in the 12 o'clock hour?
If you have, again, if your machine has the ability to give you a needle down position, which this model
doesn't it? The little arrow on the front. No, go up to as fast as speed. There you go.
Yeah, thank you. Mine's in a different position.
Yeah.
So if you put your needle down to start with, you know where your first stitch is going to go. So that's pretty important, yeah? So your needle is in the fabric. You have visibility with your clear foot. If you have speed control, put it down. Any manoeuvring that you need to do, you can only do whenever the needle is on the outside of the leaf. You don't want to be manoeuvring whenever you are actually on the leaf. This machine is going to do a little bit of a fix in place, which means that is really good. Then I'm going 1, 2, in, out, 1, 2, in, out. Get the rhythm of the machine.
Have you got little butterflies on your nails?
I've got little flowers on my nails.
Flowers? Oh, they look like butterflies from here. Like your daughter again?
That's my daughter again. Okay, just keep the rhythm going. You know, we're coming to the top of the... Right, so needle in the fabric before you move. Lift the foot. This doesn't have an automatic lift. If your machine has, then that's so much easier. But let me just, now we're going. Okay, I need to come round a little bit more. And another little bit. So the threads that that we've included match up with all of the flower colours. We haven't given you anything for the flower centres, the yellow. We thought you could stitch those in white, and we thought that was a more economic way forward.
But we've all got
white thread, but we did our best to match the colours up, because some people will find this easier than others, and leaves and petals are not the easiest of things, I've got to say. Have I got a fix button on here? No.
A what, sorry?
A fix button.
You mean a lock stitch?
Yeah.
So. Yeah, it's the one with that looks like a bullseye.
Well,
No?
no.
Did it not do it? That's the lock stitch.
Wasn't the happiest thing. Maybe I should. Maybe I didn't press it hard enough. I don't know. So what? So I have a different colour in below, so you can see. But you can see I've got this nice blanket stitch all the way around.
Oh yes, yeah.
Yeah. And if I turn it over, we've got the green on the top, and all things considered, that wasn't too bad.
What, you mean you were doing it?
Yes, me doing it on a machine that I've only done a blanket stitch on for about 4 inches earlier on.
Yeah.
So this is what you're going to do. I really suggest one panel at a time.
Yeah.
And put either, well, if you have enough bobbins, wind your bobbins so that they're going to match your thread on the top, so that if your tension is just a little bit off, you're still only going to have the same colour.
Sometimes if you've got white underneath, it sometimes pulls it through just a tiny bit.
Just a tiny bit.
Yeah.
And this is just such delicate work that you want to be doing it as, you know, give yourself every fighting chance to get a really good finish. So lots of care as you're going round these different shapes. You don't have to do a blanket stitch. You don't have to do it by machine. Now, this is panel number 1. I'm looking for panel number 2. So we still have a 1/2 inch around the edge here, where this line is drawn. Panel number 2 has been trimmed down. You can see it is smaller, okay? And this is where you need to know that leaf needs to go there, but you need to move him out of the way.
Yeah. So you don't trim to the line, you trim to 1/4 inch outside the line, because the line is your sewing line. Yeah. No.
And we tell you what size to trim to.
Yeah.
But it just for ease here, it was easy for me to show you.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Just in case someone thinks, oh, I cut on the line, that's all.
No, don't cut on the line. And that then is you need to machine along there.
Right.
And only whenever you have machined along there are you going to be able to put that leaf in place.
Yeah.
Okay, so right, somebody's going to ask, should you press the seam open or closed?
Should you press the seam open or closed? We didn't rehearse that.
I think.
Oh, you haven't got an answer now. You've said it.
I was pondering, and I think I'd still press it closed. I think I'd still press it
to
closed.
One side.
To one side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why?
Just so that I don't put the pressure on the seam.
Oh yes, because you're opening. You've literally.
Because if you open it, sorry, I have this just pinned, obviously. If I do that, this is the kind of effect you really have, in that you can, all that's holding that together is the stitch, is the thread. The size of stitch that I use whenever I'm doing joining pieces together would be a 2.5. Some machines are going to be calibrated to 2.4 or 2.6. I
think that one is, isn't it?
This, I don't have it on a straight stitch.
Oh yeah, no, I think that's 2.4, 2.6.
I think it's 2.4, 2.6. Mine is a 2.5. So you don't want it any smaller than that. It doesn't need to be any smaller. So I think I would press this to one side, probably the side that it feels as though it wants to go to.
It always tells you, really,
It does. In this instance, it wants to go towards the little sprig, which I think is actually going to be quite helpful for, and then that leaf is going to just tuck in there, okay? And because this is 1 and 2, I think before I would add 3 and 4 on, I would complete this piece. That is my panel 2, which is showing me I have this little bit of leaf.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so that's what we're looking at here. That's that little bit just tagged on there. But then if we go to the other side of 2,
Oh, yeah.
there are 2 leaves that are coming from panel 3. So I would suggest, if I can find panel 3, yeah, panel 3, this is where I have lots of pins in place, but you can see that these are the pieces that are going to just overlap there. And
it's the same technique. You said do the same thing, put them out the way, sew it, and then put them down.
Yeah.
I love it when applique goes over a seam because it just gives it that extra bit of...
It gives it the continuity, doesn't it?
It doesn't look like 5 blocks just stick together. You've got that movement through the whole lot.
And of course links the background fabrics as well in this case.
Brilliant. I've got Bernie's booked her tickets for Belfast.
We have...
She says the quilt building is a fantastic way to learn, Yvonne. Thank you so much. I'm all booked for Belfast. Elizabeth, saw your message. I'll have a word. You got another message there, did you say? Yeah, hi, Yvonne and John. I've bought tickets today for the quilt fair. Oh, here you go. We moved to Northern Ireland just at the right time. Wonderful demo from Carol in County Antrim.
Oh, that's very kind of you all. And yeah, you know, I cannot speak highly enough of the craft community in Northern Ireland and the faith that they've shown in us, because this show was planned for the 26th, 27th, 28th of March 20.
Oh.
We missed being able to hold it by 10 days.
Yeah, because I was at the Knitting and Stitching Show in Islington doing a talk there, literally just before lockdown happened, Did you say there's a photo? It's a photo. Right, hello everyone, John, here's my quilt so far. I'm so enjoying making it. I've just ordered row 3 and looking forward to receiving it. I love Yvonne's demonstration. She's such a clever lady. Well, that one's open to discussion.
Yeah.
Love to all at Saint Street from Lynn by the Sea in Cornwall. Look at the window. Look outside of our window.
Oh, can we go and do an outside broadcast from Lynn's house, please?
Yes, from Lynn's garden. Oh,
yeah.
What a beautiful view is that. Oh, I'm jealous.
I used to live by the sea whenever I was little in Northern Ireland.
Did you?
Yeah, I was brought up by the sea there. Well, it's sort of blown along the promenade, but...
Where was that then?
That was the town of Carrickfergus.
Oh, yes, I've heard of that, yeah.
It's 10 miles north of Belfast on the coast there, and it could be quite chilly.
Yeah, but it looks beautiful.
Chilly and windy, but...
I know there's something about the sea there. It's quite magical, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, Yvonne will be back in an hour's time because we're doing the boat quilt that you can see behind her. So we'll be doing that in an hour's time. There it is, that beautiful quilt there. In the meantime, let's do a roundup. I haven't got much to tell you, but this month's block, is that where you want to go, Han? Yep, this month's block, $32.99. I've opened mine, obviously, but you'll also get the picture that Yvonne nicked of mine and drew all over. There you go. So you'll get that. You get the clothes packet on the right side. Then the left-hand side is everything that's in it. £32.99. All you'll need is some Bondeweb, really, for the leaves, and it's not very much Bondeweb, is it? Really,
no.
Tiny little scrap of Bondeweb.
A good opportunity to use up some of your little scraps. To be honest.
There it is, and that will make row 3. That's this month, row 3. And then the first 3 bottom row. So you'll have done from the bottom upwards, because bottom one was row 1 and 2, and now that's row 3. $32.99. How am I stock-wise, Hannah? So please, how many? Yeah, okay, I'm going to be totally up and honest with you. There are 27 not checked out. 27 not checked out. That'll be it. When those 27 have gone, that's it. Right? So please, please, please be careful. If you've got that in your basket, you need to check. I don't need to check out. I want you to check out for yourself. But there are 27 not checked out. They will go because not everyone can watch. It's only 1 minute to 10, right? They will go. So if you've got it in your basket, you do need to check out. If, however, you haven't bought any of them yet, you want row 1 and 2, you're thinking, oh, I want to start that. We did a special deal on row 1 and 2, which we did on May the 18th. You get 2 for $49.99. It was a special price we did. So you get well, yeah, I'll bring this in. You get this one here, which is your log cabin, your courthouse steps, and one other. And then you get this one here, which is the fence. It goes that way up, actually, doesn't it? Which is the fence to your garden, your garden gate. You do have a template to make a cat. Yvonne's chosen to cut up one of my shirts and make butterflies on hers. So that one there is $49.99 if you want that one.
John, I just thought you better watch out with that shirt because that could be a flower row.
They're too big. They're too big for this.
I could fussy cut.
Yeah, you could fussy cut. You could. Brand new today, this one as well. Anyway, so don't go anywhere. I'll be back after the break with 2 pre-cuts, and I'll be recapping what we've got left from the first hour. Yvonne will be back in an hour's time with the with the sailboat, and then the hour after that, I've got sewing machines and adjust forms. So stay exactly where you are. We'll see you in 3.
Hi, it's Yvonne from Village Fabrics. I just wanted to share with you the next row on this row a month project, Village Street. This time we're looking at the house row, and we have a lot of precise piecing here. The pack that will pop through your door will contain all of these lovely fabrics with detailed instructions as to how to construct the blocks. If you haven't already joined us, it is possible to catch up with the previous rows, so why not come along and join the fun?